All of us want to be great leaders, isn't it? Now, the secret here is not in aspiring to be great leaders, in discovering, in understanding how we can become great leaders. In this video, I'm going to tell you just that. So keep watching as I talk to you about the fundamental secret behind becoming great leaders. Hello everyone, I am CSK, your personal coach, and welcome to my channel, CSK Speaks. As I said before, each one of us aspire to become great leaders. Now the secret here is in not aspiring. The secret here is in understanding how can we achieve that. Now my research tells me that there is a fundamental premise on which we should base all our actions, and that is the most important secret in becoming a great leader. I have looked into the lives of many individuals, and each one of them over the ages have just proved the same thing, and that principle works like magic. And today I'm going to tell you that very principle which I experienced in my own life. And when I juxtaposed my experience with that principle which was time tested, there I discovered the fundamental secret behind becoming a great leader. Now let's dive in straight into my experience and then come and talk about the principle. So my experience started off in the year 2017. 2017, I was accompanying a group of school students to the Nehru Zoological Park in Hyderabad. That was a field trip for all our students. We were all excited because we get to, one, stay out of my classrooms. Two, we get to spend time with animals and wildlife. Three, we get to be out of our uniforms. So all of this brought in a lot of joy for the children especially. So when we were going, we had a lot of our fun-filled elements packed in our backpacks as we call it. We had snacks, we had refreshments, we had some games, everything, you name it, with cameras and video cameras and everything, right? So we were having a great time going out to the zoo park. Now, as we went around, what happened was we drifted apart from the main group into small subgroups, and we went about discovering the zoo park. For those of you who haven't visited the Hyderabad Zoo Park, I must tell you this, that that's a very, very vast piece of land divided into a lot of secrete areas. So people were naturally drawn towards those unmanned areas where people can actually go and discover something with the hope that they may spot a different angle of a wild animal, and that's what took these small little groups of 4 or 5 people to these small areas. I was no different. I was also accompanying a few students, and a few students and me, we went into one such area without realizing that that was not the main route of the zoo. Now, when we went inside that, we were busy enjoying the wildlife, we were busy taking pictures of the nature, we were busy playing pranks, catch me if you can, and all of that. And then we realized that we had spent a majority of the day by doing all this, and we have come very, very much or very, very distant from the main group. Now, we all had a common code, and the common code was, listen, when it is time to reassemble, regroup, wherever we are, we come back to that place within the next 15 minutes, and then we straight away move into our buses so that we can make our journey back home. Now, when I got that message that we got to reassemble at the place, That's when it hit me that I am away from the place. I am away and I cannot make it within the next 15 minutes because this inquisitiveness, this curiosity to explore more and untreaded path took me and a group of my students inside the zoo park where kind of I was lost. And being the adult around, it was my responsibility to bring them back to track, but I was clueless about it. So I tried my best to figure out my own way using my common sense, looking around and trying to spot back our journey, but everything wasted. Long story short, I was lost. Now, my children, they had no clue about what was going on in my mind and the reality around them. They were still having fun. Now, look around life, even in your teams, even in your organizations, even in your homes. If you are the responsible person around, people expect you to find a way and they try to stay unaffected from the reality around. There's no fault of theirs, but the responsibility and the onus is still on you, and that's where leadership becomes extremely, extremely important. Now, coming back to the zoo park, I realized that I am not going to make it within the next 15 minutes to that particular assembly area. So, what I did is I tried to find out my own way. I tried to feel that, okay, instead of going to that assembly area and trying to join the group and then make our headway into the bus, rather, I straight away go to the bus and try to find out the exit and then move directly into one particular spot. So with that, I tried to figure out a hack and tried to go in different places. And finally, I came to a situation or a place which was a boundary wall, a compound wall of the zoo park. And from there, I could sense that on the other side is where we had parked our buses because I could hear the honking and the traffic and also some people of our own school making those noises on the other side. Now, it was very distant, it was not very obvious and very clear, so I could not shout for help from this side of the zoo park. But I could somehow feel that I am near the parking lot of the buses. There was only one thing which was standing between me and my bus was that boundary wall. So I decided quickly that we are going to jump over the boundary wall and then get out so that we are in time for the buses to leave. We don't want to hold back the entire team or entire group just because we went out on a mini adventure while we were in the zoo park. So what we did was I just climbed on a rock, figured out how I can jump over and then get down on the other side. Once I go onto the boundary wall, I'm absolutely sure that I can see people around and I can ask them for help and I can get safely into the bus. So that was the plan. So I got onto the rock and then I said, okay, from here I'm going to take the next leap onto the boundary wall. But then I had these few children, small little children who belong to grade 4, grade 5. So I said 3 of them needs to first get over the boundary wall because my duty and responsibility is first towards them and then I can follow them. So I got onto that particular stepping stone and then I told, come on, I'll pull you up. And then I pulled them up and brought them onto that particular landing area on top of the rock. And from there, I tried to put them onto the boundary wall. So I motivated them. I told them that, you know what, from here, now you just have to go onto the boundary wall. I'm going to help you. In fact, all of us are going to support you and we're going to take you onto that spot. And from there on, you can get help from the other side and we can be in the bus before it is time. So I tried my best to motivate all these kids, encourage them, sometimes even got angry at them and tried to push them over the boundary wall. Unfortunately, I could not because every time I tried to put them on, they just did not or could not go up the boundary wall. I tried my best to push. I took the help of the other 2 boys. Did not work out. Then I changed my approach. And I said, you know what? I will go up. I'll show you how to do it. And then I will pull you up so that you can join me there. And from there, we can all go down to the other side together. This time, these 3 boys backed off a little, gave me enough space to jump up the wall. I jumped up the wall, stood on the wall or balanced myself, and then bent over. And one by one, before I realized, I could pull all these three boys onto the boundary wall. And from there on, as I had planned and conceived before, I could just ask for my help, and then I was down into the bus. Now, this was my personal experience. Now, if I look at that experience and come to the principle of leadership, in one line, the principle is very clear. You can only make people become whatever they want to become by pulling them up rather than pushing them up. Right? Now, let me explain this. If people come to you and expect you to push them to a higher pedestal or a higher potential, if you try to push and by motivate them or encourage them and try to lift them up by standing below, 9 out of 10 times it's not going to work. It's not going to work. But the simple and the easiest way to make it happen, to make it work, is for you to rise to that particular level and then pull them up. That works like magic, just like how it worked for me on that boundary wall in the zoo park. Now, look at people. As I said, I went into the lives of many leaders and look at them. All of us know about that Gandhi story where a mother accompanies her boy and asks Gandhiji to tell the boy to stop eating sugar. But what did Gandhi do? He said, come back to me after a week and I'm going to tell your boy to stop eating sugar. And then mother and the boy comes back to Gandhi, and Gandhi, just as a matter of fact, tells the boy, why don't you stop eating sugar? I have done it and it works. Now mother is confused. She says, what do you mean by I have done it and it works? Gandhi said, last week when you came, I was also eating sugar. And when I am eating sugar, I cannot tell your boy with conviction to stop eating sugar. So the whole week, I stopped eating sugar and I could survive. And now with that conviction, I am telling your boy to stop eating sugar. And that's why your boy readily accepted, yes, Bapu, I will stop eating sugar. Now you look at this principle also. Here, what Gandhiji is doing is pulling the boy to his level, not pushing him up by saying, you can do it, you can stop eating sugar, get rid of that habit. That's not how life works. So, when I am trying to explain you the time-tested principle of leadership, remember just two things. Pull always works. Push does not necessarily work. So you want to encourage your team members, you want to encourage your family, you want to encourage your friends, you want to encourage yourself to be a better leader, become the leader. Only by becoming is when you will be able to attract people to being leaders in their own right. So why am I sharing this with you is all of us spend a lot of time in our life in telling people what to do, in showing them that they can achieve whatever they want to achieve. But that's not how it works. The simple way it works is by showing them what you could achieve, and thereby people will take a leaf out of your book and then start achieving. And that's the simple secret, the universal principle to becoming a great leader. Now look at me. I have always spent my time talking to students in my classroom, educating people or influencing professionals about different ways and means of making most of their life. But then I realized that I got to only show them. As a teacher, as a leader, as an entrepreneur, I tried to tell what I have done. I tried to show them what I could do. And by that sheer process, I have been more than 3 times successful than what I used to be sitting and talking to people from my particular pedestal. So friends, there are a lot of things which I have packed in this video. Number one, as a leader, your aspiration is to make people better leaders or better versions of their people. Or even if you're starting off, you want to become a great leader. Remember the zoo park experience. I could fail in pushing people above, but I did not fail in pulling them up. Like, for example, I should have learned from that particular simple step. First time I wanted to go onto that boundary wall, what I did, I brought myself onto that rock and I pulled those people. But I forgot that entire experience and I tried to push them up. That's what happens in our life. We don't watch ourselves. But when we watch ourselves, we understand that there is a principle which governs our action and gives us success. So when you focus on that, we get it. So pulling people up, getting there and pulling them up is the most easiest and the most efficient way of leading people around. Thank you very much for watching CSK Speaks. I really hope that you will start pulling people up around you in your life and do not waste time on pushing people towards their potential. Thank you.